I'm joined by the Treasurer, Matt Kean, to launch a very important recovery plan for our state. It has been a difficult and it has been a challenging journey, but it is one which, as a state, we've all walked together. There is a long way to go. There'll be challenges as we move through this difficult time as we begin to open up our state as quickly, but importantly, as safely as possible. We provided, during this lockdown period, significant financial support with the aim of getting everyone back into work and keeping businesses open. That has been a core focus of the New South Wales government. We said from the outset last year that we would put people, families and businesses before the budget. We know that putting significant stimulus into the New South Wales economy, success for us here in New South Wales is having people in work and businesses in business. That has been the core focus during this period of time. Last year, with the Alpha strain, it was challenging. We lost close to 300,000 jobs right across the state. They are big numbers, but behind every one of those numbers is a person. Someone who lost their job went through a very stressful and difficult time. But the financial support that we provided last year, the programs and the stimulus into the New South Wales economy ensured we recovered every single one of those jobs and 30,000 more. Our people right across our state came through that difficult time and we came out stronger the other side. In the budget this year, in June, just before the Delta outbreak had hit and the lockdowns commenced, the New South Wales economy was stronger than it was before the pandemic began. And then Delta hit, and what has been, as we've seen, around 250,000 people across our state have again lost their jobs. But for the JobSaver program that we invested billions of dollars in here in New South Wales, there would have been 100,000 more people across our state out of work. Our goal, our aim, is to get every single person back into a job as quickly as possible. We have learnt from last year. We learnt that the stimulus measures, some work better than others. And when they worked, we have doubled down and invested even more. This recovery strategy is not the government's. It's the people of New South Wales. It's your plan. And when Delta hit, we hit the phones, speaking to businesses, industry groups, unions, non-for-profits, community organisations, local government areas, mayors, councillors, right across the board. We asked what they believe would help them in their communities, their businesses, their industries, community organisations, looking after vulnerable people right across our state. We do not want anyone to slip through the cracks of what has been a very difficult time and which there will be significant challenges as we move through 2022 and beyond. But this plan sets up a bright future for New South Wales. There are three key objectives in this plan: securing a strong rebound, targeted and timely support for those industries, sectors and areas across our state who have been significantly impacted. We note significant support for regional New South Wales, who are still doing it tough. Our $5 billion West Invest Fund, as part of our West Connects transaction, will provide great opportunity for the people of Western Sydney, and also to ensure we come back strongly. We know in this plan, it's not just support for businesses. You've seen over the course of this period of time record investments right across the board, whether that's in mental health support, particularly for young people who have gone through an incredibly challenging time. We know that calls for help have become much more, and as I've said on that day, the government can invest so much, but it's up for the people of New South Wales as well to come together and look out for your neighbour, look out for your loved ones, and make sure they're doing okay. Significant support for social and affordable housing, record investments right across the board, leading the nation. We know that worked last year. We know that, importantly, it got people into work as quickly as possible, but provided a great social good, with many people who were sleeping rough now being able to have a roof over their head for their very first time. These are the investments that will make our state great. Our tutors, we don't want any children to be left behind as well. It worked last year, so we expanded it again to make sure as kids go back to school, we've seen that this week with many excited children, many excited parents, that tutoring program will make a real difference to those who need it. But we'll continue to invest record amounts right across the board to make sure New South Wales doesn't just recover. Whilst it's a recovery strategy, this is all about making New South Wales greater. And I want New South Wales to lead the way. I want every single person right across the state, wherever you live, we want you to get through this difficult time. And we believe this close to $3 billion investment in this recovery plan will get every single person across our state through this difficult time. I also want to make an announcement today in relation to a new aspect, or final aspect of this recovery strategy. And this is a big thank you to every single mum and dad right across the state. We know it has been an incredibly difficult time, juggling kids, work and family life, but we all owe you, the mums and dads of this state, a great deal of gratitude. You have been the educators of our children, and now we want you to help stimulate the New South Wales economy through our recovery in 2022. So today we're announcing a $250 parent voucher for for households across the state, which can be used on accommodation and the Discover aspect of our Dine and Discover program. We want you to get out with your kids or take some respite from them and go out with your partner and enjoy the best that New South Wales has to offer. We know the Dine and Discover and the accommodation vouchers work. We've seen that it stimulated the New South Wales economy and had a big impact last year. But importantly for our parents, this is a big thank you. It has been tough. It has been a challenge with close to 3 months of homeschooling. But you have been the primary educators to ensure none of our children get left behind. So today's announcement provides that great support for parents. We want you to go out, have a great time, enjoy the best that New South Wales has to offer, and you are really the cornerstones of our success here in our state. We want to thank you for what you've done for our children right across New South Wales, and we believe that this economic recovery strategy won't just be about recovery, but it'll make New South Wales a much stronger place out the other side. I now pass to the Treasurer, Matt Kean.
Thank you, Premier. Today we're here to announce the state's economic recovery strategy. This is a plan to get New South Wales back on its feet safely and build a better future for everyone. We know that this has been a once-in-a-lifetime economic catastrophe. In fact, New South Wales has seen the biggest contraction in economic activity in our state's history. We've lost over 235,000 jobs. We've seen certain sectors of the economy particularly hit hard, like the arts, performance, accommodation and tourism sectors. So our strategy is focused on doing 4 things. Firstly, to rebuild consumer confidence. And we're doing that through our Dine and Discover vouchers, our Stay and Rediscover vouchers, which are around $500 million that will stimulate spending across New South Wales and create a multiplier effect that will turbocharge our economy. We're doing that through building business confidence, and there's every reason to believe that we can bounce back better. Business confidence is at an all-time high. We've seen the highest increase in business confidence in the recent index, and we have the highest level of business confidence anywhere in the nation at the moment because we've got a very strong health strategy and we've got a very clear recovery strategy, and this will feed into that. We're doing things like having our stock guarantee that will ensure that the government stands behind businesses purchasing inventory so that they can get their doors reopened and start trading again as soon as possible. The third thing that we're doing is focus on those areas of the economy that have been hardest hit. The performing arts sector. We know the restaurant sector, the accommodation sector. We're doing things like our $66 million alfresco dining package. We're doing things like our $50 million performing arts package. We want to get people out and about enjoying the things they love as soon as possible. And this is targeted spending on those areas of the economy that have been hardest hit, and also getting people to get out and enjoy those areas of the economy that they love the most. Finally, we want to make sure that we leave no one behind. And that's why we're focusing on those people that have been hardest hit throughout this pandemic. Our young people. which is one of the reasons we're spending over $300 million in our COVID intensive learning program to make sure that no kid falls behind. Many of us were homeschooling. I certainly wasn't a very good teacher at home. So for any of those learning gaps that were created, we want to make sure that they're plugged, and we're going to be employing more teachers and educators to assist in that process. We're also ensuring that we know that this is not just having a financial impact, it's having a real impact on people, which is why we're spending $130 million to provide mental health services for people who desperately need it at this time. In addition, and I'm so proud of this aspect of the package, we're supporting those victim survivors of domestic and family violence with a close to $500 million package that will see us almost double the number of women's refuges being built across New South Wales. That's not only important for victim survivors of domestic violence, but it will create jobs and turbocharge our construction industry. Just as, in addition to what we're doing, investing in social and affordable housing, again, supporting the construction industry so that we can bounce back better. We know this was a once-in-a-generation, once-in-a-lifetime economic catastrophe for New South Wales. But because of our strong health strategy, because of this economic recovery strategy, I'm confident that we'll be able to bounce back better and build a better future for everyone in New South Wales, leaving no one behind.